All right, so today we are continuing on with the 4.05 notes. Um, and then at the end of class today, all right, the thing that is due is called 4.05 layout computation. So basically what that is math. And so what we're doing today is we just went over all the math and how to do it. So whenever you have a building, you have a length and a width, which is our 30 by 70, but each wall has a height. Some walls are 8 feet, some feet are 9 feet, and some walls are 10 feet. It just all depends on the blueprint and the kind of house. So on this particular one, it tells you that you have 4 8-foot walls of a building. So we have 8 foot tall on both sides of our building. And it says one side is 30 feet and one side is 70 feet. So we have one side that's 30 and one side that's 70. So now, pretty simple, all we have to do is find the area of each wall. So to do that, we will multiply 8 times 70, which will give us 560. And then 8 times 3, which will give us 240. Okay? Now, the thing to remember is that you have 4 sides to every building. So the longer side is going to be our front and our back. So if this is our front, we need to double that up to account for our back. So we would do 560 times 2 equals 1,120 square feet, right? 1,120 square feet. And then the same thing is true for our 2 sides. The short sides are called end walls. So our 2 end walls, we would need to double that up as well. So that would just be 240 times 2 equals 480. Put square feet on here, 480 square feet. So now our front and our back is 1120 and our 2 sides are 480. So to find our total area, all you do is you add those 2 numbers together. So 1120 plus 480 is 1,600 feet. Okay? Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So same thing on our next problem here. 4 10-foot walls of a building, 30 feet wide and 70 feet long. So same thing. We have one building that's 30 feet, one wall that's 30 feet, and one wall that's 70 feet. All right. So our end wall is 30 feet. Our front and our back, those are 70. And each wall is 10 foot tall. So once again, you find your area, length times width. Very simple right there. 10 times 30 is 300. 10 times 70 is 700. Right? So then once again, you have 2 sides to a building. So 300 times 2 equals 600. And we also have a front and a back to a building. So 700 times 2 equals 1,400. And now all we're doing is we're adding together to find our total areas, right? So 1,400 plus 600 equals 2,000 square feet. Pretty simple, okay? Now, when we start to get to these problems, some of you may have a little bit difficult here, right? So we're going to start off pretty simple. How many sheets of 4x8 plywood are needed to cover an exterior wall of a building 8 by 44? All right, so let's start simple here. Exterior wall of a building 8 by 44. So that means this wall is 8 foot tall and 44 feet long. So just like with our other problems, the first thing that we have to do is find our area. So 8 times 44 is going to give us 352. So the area of this one wall is 352. Pretty easy so far. All right. Now the key here is a standard sheet of plywood, All right, as you can see up here, a standard sheet of plywood is 4 by 8. So that means the area of one sheet of plywood is going to be 32, right, equals one plywood. Okay. And so our question down here is saying, hey, how many sheets of plywood do we need to cover this building? So all you do now is you divide. Okay. You're going to divide the area by 32 so you can figure out the sheets. That's all you're doing. The area by 32. So in this case, it's going to be 32. Actually, I should say 352 divided by 32. And when you do that, that's going to give you 11. So our answer is 11 sheets of plywood. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Okay, so all you do is you find the area, divide by 32, and you get 11 sheets. Same thing on this problem. How many sheets of plywood? A floor of a building, 30 by 70. So once again, we know it's 30 by 70. So when you multiply 30 by 70, you get 2,100. So now we know the area of our floor is 2,100 square feet. And we're going to divide that by, once again, the area of a sheet of plywood. The area of one sheet of plywood is 32. So 2,100 divided by 32. And that's going to give you, I believe, 65.6. Let me see here, 2,100 divided by 32. 65.6. Okay. Now, here's the deal. Whenever you go and you buy plywood, you have to buy it by a full sheet. You cannot buy a partial sheet of plywood. So you always have to round up for plywood, right? I can't go to Lowe's or Home Depot and be like, yes, I need you to cut 4 foot or 5 feet off that piece of plywood and sell me only that 5 feet. Not going to happen. You got to buy the whole sheet. So in this case, we would need 66 sheets of. That's how you do it. Okay. Now this next one is a little bit differently. It says how many sheets of plywood are needed to cover the 4 10-foot walls of a building, 30 by 70. Now we just did this problem a couple minutes ago. So we have 10 by 30 and the area of that wall is 300. And then we have 10-foot high wall, 70 feet long. So our area of this building or this wall is going to be 700. Okay. So once again, we have 300 times 2 equals 600. 700 times 2 equals 1,400. So our total square feet is 1,400 plus 600, which equals 2,000. So there's our total square feet. And we want to know how many sheets of plywood. So once again, our magic number right here is 4 times 8, which gives us 32. So the area of one piece of plywood is 32. So now all you do is you take that 2,000, you shrink this down here a little bit, give me a little bit more room. Ooh, not quite that far. Okay. So now 2,000 divided by 32, which is the area of one sheet of plywood, gives 62.5. 62.5. Once again, you can't buy a half a sheet of plywood. So our answer would be 63 sheets. Okay. Now there is one question on your review that says how many sheets of plywood are needed to cover the 10-foot end walls of a building. If it's talking about the end walls, remember that is our short side. So in that case, we would only find the plywood for 600 square feet, right? So please make sure you pay attention to what the question is asking. The board feet, whenever you do board feet and there's a problem about board feet, it's going to give you this formula. It's going to say the number of pieces times the thickness times the width times the length divided by 12. So all you have to do is plug in your numbers. That's it. Plug in your numbers. So in the first problem, we have 3 pieces times 1 times 6 times 4, and we divide all that by 12. So 3 times 1 is 3, times 6 is 18, times 4 is 72. So that gives us 72 divided by 12, which equals 6. So our board feet for that first one is 6. And I will abbreviate that, 6 board feet, just so there's no confusion there. Our second problem, once again, very easy. So 5 times 2 times 8 times 8. We're going to divide that by 12. So 5 times 2 is 10, times 8 is 80, times 8 is 640. So that's 640 divided by 12. That's going to equal 53.333. So you just put 53.33 board feet. So that's all you're doing on every single one of these problems, is just plugging in. The last one here that I'm going to do, 2 times 2 times 10 times 12. Once again, you just divide all that by 12, just like it says in our formula. So 2 times 2 is 4, times 10 is 40, and our 12s cancel out. So it's 40 feet. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. That is the math. If you're still having problems, send me an email and I'll set something up for you and we can do a little one-on-one, whether or not it's after school or before school or during this tutoring time. Just let me know. I am here to help you. And I will see you all in class tomorrow. Remember, 4.05 layout computation. That is what students